we're running on Facebook video, Facebook Live. Thank everybody for tuning in. So if you're on WLVU right now and you're listening to the show, you can go ahead and you can jump on over if you want to watch some video. We are on Facebook.com/then, now, whenever. It looks like we have our technical difficulties straightened out there. So
yes. We do have viewers. It's very good. We didn't have those before.
And thank you guys for being patient. We apologize for the delay. So let me tell you about what's been on my mind real quick from this last SmackDown.
Oh, of course, yes.
A lot of times you and I will talk about how in pro wrestling, especially with the WWE, they have total disregard for what what constitutes as a good guy, or face, or bad guys, heel,
right.
And instead they're like, well, we don't care if you don't like him. We're still going to tell you that you are supposed to like him.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Super frustrating.
But yeah, well that's one side of it. Then there's the other thing that's quite frustrating, and here's what I found to be really annoying and really confusing.
Yeah.
So currently on SmackDown, we have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who are obviously being booked as jerks, bad guys, heels. They are a problem.
They are as bad as anybody's been on SmackDown, probably since the brand split. Like, they are public enemy number one. The whole locker room hates them. Management hates them. Half of management hates them. So yeah, they are undeniably the bad guys.
Right. Not to be confused with Razor Ramon.
No, who could possibly?
Right. So
no, you couldn't. Go ahead.
Anyway, so you have that side.
Yes.
Now, then it's supposed to be Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler, who has been off TV for 7 weeks.
Yes.
Okay, off SmackDown for 7 weeks. Made a questionable return at the Rumble that I thought was a terrible idea, the way they did it.
He was number 30. Big impact, and he's out.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Also, why? Like, why here? Whatever. So, okay, so we have that going on. Now, they're going to have these two guys that are supposed to be bad guys.
Yes.
Ziggler and Corbin fight each other.
Yeah.
Who are you supposed to cheer for in that match? Then, before they even get there,
yes.
Baron Corbin, who is a bad guy, the lone wolf, tough guy that doesn't get beat up by anybody, is getting beat up by two other bad guys.
I did find that weird, yes.
Right? Then he's fighting back. So is he a good guy? No, he's still not a good guy. Obviously, he's still being a jerk, right?
Right.
Okay, they beat him up. They're done with him. Are you supposed to feel bad for Baron Corbin?
Is that even possible?
Then, Dolph Ziggler, who's been a jerk to the fans, is in the ring. Now you know Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are heading to the ring to fight Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
To beat up Ziggler. Are you supposed to cheer for Dolph Ziggler? And then...
He's also been a complete jerk.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? His music did play this time, so maybe he's pure of blood now. Or
but
not pure of blood. Pure of heart. Pure of blood's a whole different thing that I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, but here's the thing, real quick. Is that they started it with the record scratch and no entrance.
Yes.
Then brought the music on. Then he gets in the ring. Wait, so then he gets beat up.
Yes.
Right? So now it's like, oh, poor Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
But then he and Baron Corbin are going to have a match anyway.
Right.
And they're both still bad guys.
Yep.
And then afterwards...
Yep.
Okay, so Kevin Owens loses his match. Are you supposed to be happy for Baron Corbin?
No.
Or is, then...
That just stacks the odds more against the only good guy in this equation, AJ Styles.
Exactly.
Who I don't even think was on the show.
Right. And then Ziggler wins his match.
Yeah.
And then is celebrating with fans. But he ripped them before he went out to the ring and said, like... I don't understand what the hell the logic was with booking 4 heels all against each other. Do you want me to cheer for no one on this show? Is that what you're telling me?
I do want to solve a part of that for you. I am hoping, anyway, that Dolph Ziggler will just have the entrance from now on, that this is them kind of just acknowledging what the garbage party that they've had on TV for the past 5 months, and just being like, okay, this is what you're expecting, but no, this is a Dolph Ziggler you can love again. Forget about all that stuff. You love him. You love this guy. The damage is probably already done. I don't know if we can love him again like that. We can, but it'll take a lot of work to get him back to that point. Maybe this match will be that point. He's always been good in the ring when he's motivated. When he has a good match, you do care about him. You want to see him win. Maybe this is the turning point. Maybe we can care about Dolph Ziggler again.
Well, I think they got to figure something out. Because, like I said, from a who's the good guy and who's the bad guy perspective, that was a really confusing
The whole night
show.
was a mess, yeah.
And it didn't sit well with... It was bothering me the whole time. But listen, let's do this. Let's take a real quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the rise and fall of CM Punk. Jesse's going to get right into that,
Yep.
and I think it's going to make for some really interesting stuff. So you're listening to Then, Now, Whenever, where we talk about WWE and from the John Cena debut forward.
Yep.
And we'll be back on WLVU. Okay. Thank you for sticking with us on Facebook, and we are going to get this everything working out.
You do one of these. I didn't quite get it. That's all right.
Thanks for your help there.
Hey, I did what I could. I'm bad at. I'm good at talking as long as the momentum is there, and then I hit a wall and I don't know where to go with it.
That's
But
gonna hurt.
Luckily, yeah. Always.
Concussion?
Every time. And you know, every concussion you get, there's a bigger chance you're going to get another concussion. Fun story. When I was in high school, I'm pretty sure I got a concussion because we were playing soccer, because that's what you do in high school, apparently. You just play sport things in gym. And somebody tried to kick the soccer ball like from the middle of the field to the goal. Punted it hard enough to get there, but my face was in the way. I got hit in the head, and it spun me 360 degrees. Like I did like a full flip and landed on my back, and I was like, okay. And they're like, "Are you okay?" No, yeah, I'm fine. And I went to the nurse. Everything seemed fine. And had calculus next. I could not pay attention in that class. It was a problem.
You know what I think?
This is all the cool wrestling talk that you're here to see. That's right.
I think you should consider not blocking all of the punches with your face when you are playing dodgeball.
I just hide.
I don't think there are any punches in dodgeball.
You know what? Maybe not if you're doing it right. I've played some very mean dodgeball.
So anyway,
Yes.
seriously, thank you guys for tuning in. I think I figured out what the problem was, by the way, on
What was the problem?
my device. It was uploading a video.
Huh.
Probably it was finishing trying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So maybe alternating phones isn't a bad idea
Yeah.
for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We got about 2 minutes left, and So you know what? The beauty of this is there is some bonus content on the video side.
Yeah.
But also, it's break time.
Yeah.
So hang out. We'll be right back.
I made notes.
Yeah, you made notes?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Are you?
I'm gonna use the restroom because I'm an adult.
All right. If the song ticks down, I will do the thing. Otherwise, I will just talk at the screen because I'm going to be putting this up on YouTube. Nah, I'm a professional. Oh.
Jesse, tell me about the show you're going to see.
Oh, okay. I'm going to see a GCW show, Game Changer Wrestling, in Allentown on Saturday. Still don't know what to think about this promotion. They have a great energy, great crowd, but they also seem to be complete garbage. They very much seem to be a successor to Combat Zone Wrestling, CZW. And
East Coast, by the way.
oh yeah,
Pennsylvania, right?
all East Coast Pennsylvania, yes. I forget about the scope of the show. It's crazy bones. All right, so yeah, it is a. I went to see a show of theirs in New Jersey where they have more lax rules, and it got gross. There were light tubes in just about every match, and it was just I feel like a death match. Maybe I could handle it, but I don't want to see a whole show of death matches. It was just boring, actually. And then I felt super bad for the people who were cutting themselves open and just like putting their bodies on the line, and everybody's kind of like, that ladder light tube spot wasn't as good as the last one, so I'm kind of sitting on my hands, and it's not fair to them. Hopefully the Allentown show is better because they don't need. They don't get to do all of the gross blood stuff.
We're about to come back in here.
Yes, we are.
Give some of the music to the people on the video
That's
side.
right. Get my cool strut. Visual jokes. You love that song.
Me too. Let this play for another second or two before we come back in.
I have a lot to talk about, but it's hard. It's hard not to listen to that song a little bit longer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, on WLVU around the world, streaming on Lehigh Valley Underground Radio and streaming live on Facebook, facebook.com/then, now, whenever. And Jesse is in here singing it up. And we are a cult of personality. Jesse Mack alongside myself, Shawn Michael. And you are listening to, of course, Then, Now, Whenever, where we talk about WWE from the time John Cena, about the time John Cena debuted forward. Tonight, from a spin of Clicky McWheeler. Wait, was that right?
Clicky Von Wheeler.
Clicky Von Wheeler is which is our reel that we have here. We are going to be talking about Best in the World, runner-up, and of course, we have chosen to make that the rise and stall of CM Punk. So Jesse, why don't you get right into it and tell me about what was the basis, what was the general idea, the general basis for what you wanted to talk about tonight with CM Punk?
Generally speaking, when you think about CM Punk as a champion, it's easy, depending on whether you want to think of it fondly or not so much. He has the longest title reign in the modern era, but while he was in that reign, it didn't feel like he was the focus of the show. He did, in no way. And his first world title run, when he cashed in Money in the Bank, also kind of had that feel. Of course, didn't have the duration. Which, honestly, your first title being kind of a throwaway sort of makes sense. Because maybe you did eke out a lucky win. In this case, you won the Money in the Bank match, which was an extremely difficult match to win. But, you know, are you ready to be champion? Can you keep that belt? Can you defend it? And he kind of could, and then let me just get into it.
No, well, I was going to say, I mean,
yeah.
Real quick question.
Sure.
Why do you feel that was personally? Why do you believe they did that to him?
They answered that in some way on the DVD that they put out, like the documentary portion of the CM Punk Best in the World DVD had Triple H saying that the belt doesn't make the man makes the belt, and he just wasn't ready. He just wasn't ready to carry the company yet. And it's like, you know what? You guys are writing it. You could have made him. You could have gotten him to a point where things were good, and you chose not to. So
they could do it with what's his name? The guy, not Jinder Mahal, the Great Khali.
Oh my God! Yeah, that happened. That definitely happened.
Yep. So
yeah, that will definitely come up in future episodes. Great Khali, horrible wrestler, one of the worst ever. Okay, so if you don't know CM Punk, he rose through the independents in the early to mid 2000s. Straight edge individual, doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs. When he was bad in wrestling, a lot of times he would ramp that up. He would make that an air of superiority, a point of superiority. And when he was good, people just cheered him because he was a good wrestler, and he was kind of a brash loudmouth, which, if you do it right, is very good.
Yep. And by the way, that's who he was as a person.
Yeah.
Like, they say some of the best gimmicks in wrestling are the ones where it's just the guy or the girl.
Yes.
But turned up a little bit.
Right.
This is who CM Punk is as a person.
Yeah, you saw a lot.
Straight edge.
A lot of that man portrayed as the character as well. And I believe CM Punk actually was the identity he made for himself, like, kind of, not pre-wrestling, but before he got to even, like, real wrestling, he was CM Punk, and he just went with that.
Yeah.
I believe Chick Magnets was what the CM stood for.
That was the tag team he was in.
That's right, with, like, CM Venom, I believe.
Yep.
Something like that.
So go for it.
So, yeah, in 2006... Actually, before that, he was signed by WWE. First appeared on television in 2006 on the...
WWECW?
That's right, yes. When they brought ECW back from the dead, whole other story. But at that point, it was sort of a side brand for up-and-coming talent, almost the way that NXT is now. But then also matched with the image of the old ECW, which is violent wrestling, and at this point, just old guys who can't wrestle that well. Because everybody who was big in ECW was a decade later. Work rate was not exactly the biggest thing.
Okay.
Some of them still were great to watch, but then some of them were not. And it's like, a lot of times watching that old product, it was tough. I wanted to see them get out of the way, and I think I was in the minority in that. Most people wanted to see ECW.
Right.
I was cool with seeing, like, oh my God, what can Elijah Burke become? John
I
Morrison
loved Elijah
great.
Burke, by the way.
He got so good. Yeah. And then went nowhere. But again, topic for another time. One of the first times that CM Punk was able to touch a larger audience, the first time that really hit home, at least, was that he was chosen to be on one of the teams at Survivor Series. And he was out there...
Is that the team with DX?
Yes. And he was out there with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, who
the
are...
Hardys, or no?
I actually don't remember.
I think it might be the Hardys.
Yeah. The important part for me is that he was out there with very popular wrestlers.
Right.
And everybody was chanting for CM Punk.
That's great.
Partly because he was new and interesting. You know, he was kind of like the it guy. But that's not a bad thing. It says something that they can take him to one of the main brands, and he can still be that it guy. This crowd is ready to take CM Punk in. They're ready to eat him up. All right, and then in 2007, as time rolls on, he was in the
as Raw rolls on.
Raw rolls on. He was in the Money in the Bank match, lost that Money in the Bank match, went back to ECW, where ECW champion Bobby Lashley, or Bobby Lindsay, I think.
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lindsay. And he, yes, that was a inside joke. There's a lot of them. It's wrestling. It's what you do. Lashley got traded to Raw, and so the ECW title went vacant. Long story short, CM Punk was in a title match, and the other guy didn't show up because he did terrible things, and we can never talk about him again. Chris Benoit.
Oh, we can talk about Chris Benoit. He was a great wrestler.
He was but...
He was a great wrestler. He was a terrible person for what he did at the end of his life.
Yes, his legacy is, I would say, tarnished. And honestly, he did not do that match any favors. He was not a great wrestler that night.
Yeah.
I can at least say that. So he was replaced by John Morrison, who had previously been Johnny Nitro, but at this point was doing sort of a, Doorsy kind of Jim Morrison thing.
This was post Eminem.
I believe
right?
so. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yes. Yeah. I believe it is post Eminem. It was okay. Actually, it might have still been in Eminem days, but it was one of his first
singles.
His first singles pushes, where it's like, can this guy be a good singles guy?
Right.
He won the ECW title in his first match as John Morrison.
Okay.
Either that, or he won it as Johnny Nitro and became John Morrison immediately after. I don't remember the timeline exactly, but CM Punk had to chase that title, which is always a nice way to go, because if he had just won the title by default, you'd have to figure that Chris Benoit was going to win the title there, and he was going to chase Chris Benoit for that title.
Right.
But unfortunately, Chris Benoit happened, and then we were left with him feuding with another young guy, which doesn't have the same impact.
Right.
But still, people loved seeing him get that title.
Yeah.
For him to be he was very much the epitome of the kind of guy who ECW would have plucked out of obscurity in its heyday. And in fact, as he mentions later, he is a Paul Heyman guy. Paul Heyman did push for him to be hired by WWE. So he was backed by him. He would have been a good ECW guy, which is why he was on that brand.
That's what I was going to ask you. In 1995, in 1996,
yeah,
would CM Punk have worked in the original ECW?
100%. He would have fit that mold perfectly. He would have had classic matches with Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko. He would have tagged up with Mikey Whipwreck, and they would have torn the house down. But he came a decade too late.
Right.
So
some guys are ahead of their time. Some guys are, late.
Yeah, I feel like Punk found his place, but
yeah,
he also
sure.
That would have been a wonderful place for him. He had to settle for the worst ECW.
Excuse me.
So yeah, he won the ECW title, lost it not too long after to Chavo Guerrero. Ooh, Chavo.
Kathy from the shows we watch.
Yes.
One night we were relaxed and hanging out, and all of a sudden I just said, "Ooh, Chavo." She's like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, if you do not have context for that, that is really, really random.
So, Damien thinks he's funny, and Damien is one of my best friends, and yes. Damien. Damien is not a fan of pro wrestling. Mm-hmm. He's not a CM Punk fan.
Really?
And so he was more than happy to watch CM Punk get destroyed in the UFC. Yeah. So anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about.
Don't spoil the ending of our story.
Hi, Damien.
Yeah. So the fireworks factory really got set off when he wrestled in the next Money in the Bank match at the next WrestleMania in 2008, and he won.
Yes.
So all of a sudden he had Money in the Bank. If you don't know, is a
You want me to sort of give the quick explanation on this?
you can do that.
Okay.
Let's get you in the show.
Hi, I'm on the show.
Hey, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, Shawn. Anyway, so Money in the Bank is a match that was creatively created by Chris Jericho.
Yes.
And it's a match where you have several superstars, could be 6, 7, 8, it depends what they want to do.
Yeah.
And then you have ladders around the ring and a briefcase hanging above the ring, suspended by a chain. And then, so in order to win the match, you have to be the first one, while fighting amongst everyone else, to basically try to render your opponents helpless, so that you can climb the ladder, grab the briefcase. Once you have the briefcase, you win the match. And that briefcase in story has a contract in it that you can cash in, as they say, or turn in at any time, anywhere, against any champion to be guaranteed a match against them. Whether or not you win that match is kind of, we'll see what happens. So CM Punk,
for the first several years that this was, I think, the fourth Money in the Bank, if I'm counting right.
yeah.
For the first few years, everybody who had cashed in the Money in the Bank contract had won the title.
I think that had to keep the allure.
Yeah, so it was very much felt that if you could win Money in the Bank, you got a cheap shot to win the title.
Yeah.
But you had to win Money in the Bank first. And
Right.
So it was a good opportunity for wrestlers who wouldn't usually be in the mix to suddenly find themselves in the mix, give them that step forward that the Intercontinental Championship used to do.
Right.
And no longer does.
Right.
Now the Miz just wears it all.
So now CM Punk has won the title.
Yes.
Or excuse me, won the Money in the Bank.
Yes. Again, spoilers, guys. Yeah, he won Money in the Bank as an ECW talent, which seems kind of goofy. It's like, okay, well, that's a shame. I guess he's going to get the title back from Chavo whenever he wants it. But soon after that, in June, he was drafted to Raw. And funny thing, I did not put the pieces together in my head when I watched it when it was actually happening. That, oh God, he's on Raw now. He can go for one of those titles.
Right.
And the funny thing is, he did not go for the title from Raw. He went for the title from SmackDown because Edge was there just to complain, I believe.
So Edge and Batista.
Yeah, what's the story?
Edge and Batista had a match. Edge, cheated to get the victory.
Of course.
Steal the title then from Batista. And the night after that pay-per-view, it was sort of it was not quite a cross-branded thing, but it was after a big pay-per-view. And I think, I wonder if I'm trying to remember if that pay-per-view was a cross-branded one. But anyway, I
think it might have been the night of the draft, so everybody was there.
That's exactly what it was.
Case.
Yes. So Edge stole the championship, basically, wins the match, comes out on Raw, and is cutting a promo about he's the greatest and yada yada yada. And he was complaining about this and that. Batista, who he had fought the night before and beat for the championship, decides.
I could be wrong, but I believe Batista had been drafted by Raw, so Edge was kind of rubbing it in his face that you're not going to get this championship.
Yes, you'll never get it back.
You'll never get another shot at this.
So Batista comes out, beats the living hell out of Edge. Now, Edge is all beat up. Pretty much helpless.
Yeah.
Batista's music hits. He's leaving the ring. That's that. Batista gets about 3/4 of the way up the ramp, and then all of a sudden you hear Killswitch engages this fire hit CM Punk's video boards, everything comes up on the Tron. Now the crowd explodes. Not literally, because
that would be really painful.
Everyone would be dead.
You wouldn't be able to cheer at that point. You'd be dead.
But the emotion in that crowd. I mean, if you still watch the clip now, if you look it up on YouTube, CM Punk cashing in Money on the Bank on Edge. Yeah. The crowd goes into a frenzy.
Yes.
They go berserk. CM Punk starts jogging down, cashes in. And he does that thing with his watch where he's like, what time is it?
Yep.
Telling the ref, hurry up, start the match.
Right. If I may interrupt, generally, when somebody had Money in the Bank, the idea was you can cash in at any time, and it doesn't have to be when your opponent is fresh. So many of the Money in the Bank cash-ins happen when somebody is at their worst.
Yes.
So you can take advantage.
Yep. So Edge gets up, the ref rings the bell. As Edge is staggering, CM Punk picks him up, hits his finishing move on him, the
Go to sleep.
GTS,
Yep.
knocks him out, wins the championship. That's that. So now
Yes.
CM Punk is the champion.
He has achieved a lifelong dream in wrestling. He is holding what they affectionately refer to as the big gold belt, the old WCW title, now the World Championship, which I believe doesn't follow the lineage. But in look, that is the WCW title. So it is a huge moment for him. You can see the emotion in his face.
Just want to say hello to Matt. Matt watching on the Facebook stream, and everybody. I want to say hello. Thank you guys for tuning in to watch us on Facebook Live.
Absolutely.
Facebook.com/ThenNowWhenever. And then, of course, big thanks to everybody over on WLVU, Lehigh Valley Underground Radio, for tuning in, supporting the show. Every time I start to say Then, Now, Whenever, because then and the, I almost say the other show, the shows we watch, which is on before this one. So anyway, so now...
side plug your other shows.
it was not even on purpose.
Sure.
I keep going slow,
you're so good that you're doing it, but you're accidentally good at promotion.
The then shows now...
Let me tell you about this guy.
Go
CM
ahead,
Punk.
please do.
Let's get out of this tailspin. So CM Punk is the champion on Raw, on the A brand. And the focus really isn't on him, which I kind of alluded to in the earlier times. It's not a complete garbage factory, but for the most part, they're focused on Cena fighting Batista, and HBK is Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels is feuding with Chris Jericho.
Right.
And that seems to be the focus, with Punk mostly fighting like some of the people from those feuds when they're not fighting each other. I believe he faces JBL at one of the pay-per-views in that time period.
Yep.
So then we get to September, and he's in a championship scramble match, which is a match that they don't use very often because it's kind of terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
It is sort of an Iron Man match, but with everybody... Pretty much they have a time period, and whoever gets the final pinfall in that period becomes champion. So
It's weird.
you pin somebody, you're the champion unless anybody else pins you before that time period is over. So whoever gets that last pin is the champion. It's a hard match to keep a championship in. Funny thing, CM Punk didn't even get the shot to do so because he was attacked backstage.
Yep, I remember that.
By Legacy, which was Randy Orton and two other third-generation superstars.
Yep, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr.
Mm-hmm. And so I felt like that was the ultimate indignity to end that run. And he was replaced by Chris Jericho, who won the title that night, and went off and running in possibly the greatest version of Chris Jericho ever, which is serious Chris Jericho. He is the best he is at what he does. Do you understand what I'm saying? And
Right now.
Right now, yes. And so it's not like they didn't make a good choice there, but he wasn't even able to lose the match, and it was some garbage.
Brian Kendrick was a champ, by the way.
What?
Matt Jones just wants to remind you, Brian Kendrick, he was the champ.
The Brian Kendrick?
The Brian Kendrick.
I've heard of that guy. I wonder what he's up to now. Yes. So yeah, he kind of he didn't get completely lost in the shuffle. To be fair, he was still a marquee player. He was lost in the middle at this point. He feuded for the IC title with William Regal.
Yep.
Who, it's amazing how William Regal just kind of floated in the middle. Like, he was sometimes nothing, and sometimes he was the focus of some pretty big title feuds. And he could always make it work. But it's also, why not always have him be great? I don't understand wrestling. I guess booking's hard. I shouldn't be too judgmental. So yeah, he won the Intercontinental title from William Regal, and lost it in March to John Bradshaw Layfield, a good cowboy friend JBL.
Yep.
And he got into Money in the Bank again at WrestleMania, which is always in April or very end of March. Guess what?
What?
Guess what our boy did? He won Money in the Bank 2 years in a row, a feat that had never been done, and it's never been done again. And, so he was Money in the Bank champion a second time, which in my fan heart was like, oh, maybe they realized that they did him dirty. And that there's something
2 years
there.
in a row?
Yes. 2 consecutive
I forgot.
years. Yeah. And at that point, that was, I believe, 3 and 4. Like, he won the third... No. Yes. Maybe. Regardless, it was like, there weren't that many Money in the Bank winners, and he did it twice. Which, again, they still haven't had somebody win it twice. Unless, actually, no, they might have by now, because for a while it was 2 different ones. I feel like Kane might have won it twice, and...
Oh, God. All right, yeah,
John
moving on
Cena.
from that.
Let's not talk about it. So yeah, he was able to win Money in the Bank for a second time. Crowd goes wild.
God, that's right. I'm sorry.
What?
I just want to say, Matt makes a good point. During one of those 5-minute championship scramble matches, Brian Kendrick became heavyweight champion.
But you're not really the champion unless you have it at the end.
That's true.
Which is some
So,
garbage. It's not like when they had that hardcore championship scramble and everybody did get to be 24/7 champion. That was a whole other thing. The year 2000. What a time. Okay, we're going back to 2009 though.
Okay.
In June, Jeff Hardy finally gets his moment to potentially shine. He, half of the Hardy Boys, or sometimes just the Hardys when they decide not to make them children anymore. And he had moved away from his brother Matt, who I believe at this point was gone from the company. He had had some problems with painkillers.
Yes.
And they cut ties with him. Jeff Hardy also had problems with painkillers, but was able to come back, was able to deal with it in such a way that, clearly, that they were okay with him working there. And, Jeff Hardy was able to beat Edge for the title, for the world title at Extreme Rules. And this was a huge moment because people, especially the young people, loved Jeff Hardy. And to see him finally get his moment in the sun was huge. And then CM Punk comes out, cashes in Money in the Bank, beats him, and takes the title. And the crowd hates it. They just hate that guy for doing it.
Yeah.
And he's still ostensibly the same good guy, babyface CM Punk that we knew and loved. But people just like Jeff Hardy that much more. And when you see somebody you hate like Edge get cheated out of the title, it feels good. When you see somebody who has been waiting to get that title forever lose it, it feels bad. So people would rather have seen Jeff Hardy get a shot with it, much in the same way that I feel CM Punk didn't get his due with the title. Jeff Hardy certainly didn't. He didn't even get to hold it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I understand that feeling. But CM Punk was able to do that wonderful thing that you can do in wrestling sometimes. It's rare, but it's great when it happens, which is he is completely justified, and everything he says is true, but you can tell that he is a complete scumbag and a jerk, and he is just a garbage human, and that Jeff Hardy is right, even though Jeff Hardy keeps acting like an ass. Like, he keeps doing the terrible things, he keeps attacking CM Punk from behind, because CM Punk, I got hit in the eye and I couldn't see and I accidentally hit the referee. That's not my fault. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to do that. And Jeff Hardy is fuming because CM Punk keeps cheating, but he has reasons for it. Let's go long story short. CM Punk eventually turns the whole way and is the scumbag that we want him to be. And he goes back to what he used to do in the Indies, which is, I'm straight edge, you've had drug issues, I'm better than you. You are not a good role model for these children. I'm a good role model for these children. Why aren't you cheering for me?
Right.
A lot of CM Punk's heel energy comes from why aren't you appreciating me as much as you should be? And that goes for both the people on top and the people in that crowd.
Yeah,
so,
Matt echoes your same sentiments. That was a great run.
And that's the thing. The premise of this is wasted title reigns. Mm-hmm. That one was not wasted. That title reign was fantastic. He pretty much exclusively feuded with Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy was able to win the belt at Night of Champions in July, but then CM Punk won it back again in a TLC match the next month, and then fought him the night after in another title match where the loser had to leave the company. And Jeff Hardy lost. He finally was able to get rid of that bad influence and cleanse the WWE of that toxin, which of course led to one of your favorite moments when Jeff Hardy's music played the next week, and people went crazy, and then who comes out but CM Punk
dressed as Jeff Hardy,
painted and dressed as Jeff Hardy,
cuts a scathing promo.
Yeah, and just as the people start to realize that it's not Jeff Hardy, they just start booing their hearts out, and they keep cutting to the crowd, and the kids are so unhappy. Some of the unhappiest kids I've ever seen.
And it was great. We got the CM Punk boy who was like Ms. Girl.
Yes, there were actually two really good ones there. In my young days of YouTube, where I used to not care as much about copyright infringement, I actually made a video of how unhappy the crowd was there, but I eventually removed it because I shouldn't do that. It's not fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that, he did the Miz Girl before the Miz Girl was a thing.
So
yes, phrasing on that one. My apologies. Okay. Yep. So at that point, even though he finally got to move on from Jeff Hardy, essentially. Got rid of Jeff Hardy, starts feuding with The Undertaker, who is nothing to mess with at this point in his career. Like, this is Undertaker at the prime of his supernatural powers in the 2000s. He was able to beat him in a title match because it was a submissions match, and through management shenanigans, The Undertaker's main submission hold, Hell's Gate, Triangle Choke, was banned.
right.
So he won with that, and then Vicky Guerrero came out and was like, ah, that's
Excuse me.
Thank you. I got out of character there.
Excuse me.
And restarted the match. CM Punk locked on the Anaconda Vice, his submission finisher.
Love that move.
And the referee called for the bell, even though he was not giving up. So it was a real garbage situation. And then Taker beat him the next month in Hell in the Cell.
Right.
Which, Hell in the Cell, it's kind of hard to beat Undertaker in Hell in the Cell. So you can't be too mad at that. Okay. CM Punk is not going to touch a championship in a while. Oh, did you have something you wanted to say?
I just want to say, Matt, by the way, who's
Yes.
is sticking with us here on the live stream and chiming in. Matt is a pro wrestler as well.
Yes.
So Matt definitely loves his himself some wrestling.
Yes,
And by the way, Matt, thank you for tuning into the show tonight. If this is your first time tuning in, this is episode number 2. Thank you for our listeners sticking with us on WLVU, Lehigh Valley Underground Radio. This is Then Now Whenever, where we talk WWE from the debut of John Cena or so forward.
Yes.
And right now we're talking about the rise and stall, so to speak, of CM Punk. And we'll be taking this right up to about the 10 o'clock hour.
Okay. So we do want to try to wrap up at regular time.
Yeah, we'll probably go a little bit over if we need to, or we can always
I
continue.
gotta start picking it up.
Listen, if you have plenty of info, here's the thing: we're gonna kind of like our schedule here. You know what we could do? We can also, because I don't want to cut too much out of this,
Right.
So we can always make this a 2-parter because there's plenty of CM Punk discussion.
I would like to keep it in one part.
Yeah.
I don't want to string this out too much.
Okay.
But that's
Go
the
for
thing. CM Punk, I can skip through a bit of what's happening next.
Sure.
Because CM Punk doesn't touch a title for a while.
Right.
But it does give us Straight Edge Society, which
Yes.
is a wonderful version of CM Punk. In late 2009, early 2010, CM Punk recruited Luke Gallows, who now is a member of the club. Before this, he was Festus, who is a mentally challenged wrestler who, when the bell rang, he was like, "Oh, I'm a genius at wrestling."
Like Bison Men.
Yes, and then the bell would ring again, he'd be a drooling idiot. Terrible character, kind of loved it, but I know I was wrong. He also teamed with Jesse, which I was biased about that. Well, he was somebody's kid. Terry Gordy, maybe? He was somebody's kid. And it was like, that guy should have been something. He wasn't. He was not something. I get sidetracked easily. So yeah, he had a small stable of where he preached the wonders of straight edge and tried to get everybody. He essentially became a-hole Jesus, which grew out the beard, long stringy hair. Everybody else has to shave their head. Grab random people out of the audience, shave their heads. One of them was a young woman named Serena who ended up sticking with them for a bit. He feuded with Rey Mysterio and had one of my favorite moments, which was that he sang Happy Birthday to Rey Mysterio's 9-year-old daughter in the creepiest manner possible. And it was just a wonderful moment. It's like, Happy Birthday to you. And she was just like about to cry. And
Oh no.
So good. He then
Biscuits and gravy.
yes, the old Jesse and Festus theme song, Biscuits and Gravy. He fought with Rey Mysterio in a hair versus mask match that he lost.
Right.
And so
Didn't
how-
Punk?
you know what?
Was that one where Punk
wasn't-
pulled the mask off and it wasn't the real mask?
It wasn't. It might have been. It wasn't hair versus mask. It was hair versus you must join Straight Edge Society.
That's right.
Because he wanted to indoctrinate him. So, yes. He lost his hair, came out the next night, towel over his head, pulled off another beautiful CM Punk jerk move where he pulled the towel off and he's wearing a mask now.
I remember that.
That was one of my favorite months where he was so proud of himself for not letting you see him bald. I loved it. And then he fought with the Big Show, who eventually did get the better of him, pulled that mask off of his head, and there's bald CM Punk, because apparently you keep shaving your head for a month when you wear a mask.
Yeah.
But you needed to see that visual, and it was worth the wait, and it was fantastic. At the end of 2010, he got traded to Raw, and was not in the best of health, so he did commentary for a bit. He was, they put him on the commentary table. He had a hip injury, needed a little bit of surgery, and in the end of December, he attacked John Cena and formed the New Nexus. Now, the Nexus, without going into it too much, was the graduates of the first class of the game show version of NXT, all banded together to try to make a bigger impact than they could alone, and they also attacked John Cena.
We'll end up doing an episode of the Nexus at some
there's
point,
no way we won't. Yeah, and also almost every individual member of the Nexus has enough to talk about that there will be a lot of... that is
It's a spot on the wheel.
Yes, that is a group, there's going to be a lot of content there. So yeah, New Nexus was not exactly setting the world on fire.
Right.
He recruited a couple of the people from the Nexus, and then Wade Barrett, one of the original members of the Nexus, formed a group called the Core with 2 R's because of the...
And an E, yeah.
The Core, yeah. And so it was just feuding factions, and neither one seemed that good because each one had like a couple of people from the first and second seasons of NXT, and neither one seemed that powerful or interesting. And it's just kind of a garbage party. But I don't think they weren't even feuding. It was that they just had...
they were annoyed by each other.
Yeah, they had parallel groups, much in the same way that currently on TV you have Absolution and the Riot Squad on Raw and SmackDown, and they're the same threesome of women, except in different forms and on different shows. They often make the joke that Riot Squad doesn't know what they're doing yet on Tuesday nights until they see what Absolution did on Raw first.
Aye.
Because it really does just feel like an echo of the same thing. And the Core and the New Nexus was not far enough away. They did have a killer shirt, though, which was the CM Punk fist holding a lightning bolt in yellow, which, beautiful logo work.
Yeah.
CM Punk did do well, like, designing merchandise. That guy almost always had something that you would be proud to wear on your chest.
I have one.
Yeah.
I got when I went to WrestleMania 29, WrestleMania 29 in New York, I got the one, it looks like the almost like the stained glass CM Punk, and on the back it has the GTS hands with the rosary hanging off of it.
That is a good shirt.
I have that shirt. I love that shirt.
Yeah, I want to say that was illustrated by Jill Thompson, who was important comic work,
Interesting.
and also a fan of CM Punk. So
that's awesome.
Like she reached out to him, or he reached out to her, and side notes there.
Yep.
So yeah, the New Nexus made the mistake of trying to pick on Randy Orton and recruit him into their group. So Randy Orton does what a Viper does, and he kicked everybody in the head and took them out of action until it was just him and Punk left, and then just beat him a bunch of times. Because that's what Randy Orton does. You don't pick a fight with Randy Orton or John Cena, because generally speaking, they will just keep beating you. You'll get your one victory, and then they will beat you every other moment that you step foot in the ring with them.
Ugh.
But now we're to the point that we wanted to talk about, the point that everybody wants to talk about, the pipe bomb.
Pipe bomb.
That is the moment that the true form of CM Punk was born. That at this point, CM Punk felt like he was not being used to his fullest potential. He was getting very frustrated, and let Vince McMahon and everybody else in charge know it to the fullest of his ability that he is unhappy. So they got kind of fed up with him. And his contract was running out at the end of the next month. They're like, we're just going to give you a live mic, go on TV, air your grievances, say whatever you want. And boy, did he.
Oh, he did. The pipe bomb.
He was able to beat up John Cena, leave him laying in a heap, I think, on a table. Then he just walked up to the top of the ramp, sat down cross-legged, and just talked about how frustrating it was to work in WWE.
Right.
When he's not the one... he feels that he is the best wrestler in the world. John Cena He wins a lot of championships, but that's just because
He's good at ass kissing.
he kisses ass.
Not as good as Dwayne.
Yeah, The Rock.
And
As good as Hogan did.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And if you ever want to see that, it's an epic moment. I'm sure you'll find it on the WWE Network or on YouTube. Look up CM Punk's pipe bomb.
Yeah, you will absolutely find it, and it is worth your 6 minutes. It is one of the most captivating moments, and wrestling is never more captivating than when you can't tell just how much you can believe or not, or when you can't believe what they're saying, where it's like, I know this is scripted product, how can he possibly be saying that? How can it possibly be okay that he's saying all these things?
Right.
So yeah, it was a fantastic moment. Talked about how he's not the one on the collector's cups or the posters. He's not even in the intro at the beginning of Raw. It's not cool because he's the best wrestler. He's not getting those opportunities. CM Punk.
Sorry, Matt knows this. Matt said no, it was R-Truth that actually beat John Cena in a tables match.
Oh, that's what happened.
And he was selling for the
You know
whole
what?
promo.
I think he might have been on commentary during that match.
Yes.
He was wearing a Stone Cold shirt, yeah. You're very correct. I'm sorry about that.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes, keeping us honest. I like that. I also, anytime that I don't know something and you can tell me something, that makes me happier. I'd rather know more things. I don't get that embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, man. So yeah.
The more you know.
CM Punk, I love that. I love that star. CM Punk was able to, he got fired from the company, got suspended for months or whatever. Then Cena was like, no, bring him back to the company. I want to face him for the title and prove to him that I'm the guy. Blah, John Cena. Woo! Ba-ba-da-ba. Rapadoo! Your classic Cena business. Yes. And he, there was a lot of questions. Pretty much the night where he had the title match in Chicago, his hometown, where he was going to be the most popular man on the history of the planet, essentially. I believe on commentary they said that it was as though the Bears made it to the Super Bowl and they held the Super Bowl in Chicago. That was the level of excitement, and it's true.
Oh yeah.
CM Punk kept saying, I'm going to win that championship, and I'm going to walk out of here. I'm not re-signing that contract. I'm just going to take the championship. I'm going to take it somewhere else, and you're pretty much just going to egg Vince McMahon's face to death. So they have a stellar match. You could say a lot of bad stuff about John Cena, but he's a man who rises to the level of his opponent. When he wrestles with somebody who can wrestle very well, and the story of it is, I want to see John Cena lose to this guy I like more, he is amazing to watch. And he is one of the few guys who you can beat anymore and have it feel like a passing of the torch. If you can get that big win over him, and not like a fluke win that he then eradicates from history by Bray Wyatting you or Ruseving you for 3 months straight, he is an amazing... he can make a man.
Yeah.
And he made CM Punk that night. CM Punk did win the title, ran off, got home, put the title in his fridge at home, tweeted out a picture of that. Okay, we have hit the 10 o'clock mark.
Stick with us here. We're gonna go a
keep
little bit over
going.
time. It's okay.
But I will try to not run through this because this is the beat of the story. But
actually, I appreciate everybody sticking around, and I'm sorry that we got held up a little bit at the beginning of the show with some technical difficulties.
Yes.
But I appreciate everybody sticking with us. Matt says, remember when Punk was suspended, Rey Mysterio won the title on Monday Night Raw, and then he lost it.
That is the next point.
That is the next point.
Pretty much Punk ran away with the title. Vince McMahon was like, well, we can't not have the WWE Championship. Let's hold a mini tournament, see who gets to, see who will be our WWE Champion. And Rey Mysterio won that tournament. Everybody was like, oh my god, Rey Mysterio, this is great. That's a guy who we've wanted to see, be a face of this company. And lost it that same night to John Cena, which is totally unfair. What? Why would you do that? He already wrestled.
Yep.
Even if you weren't John Cena, it would be unfair.
Right.
It was the stupidest thing possible. But if you give us the moment where John Cena is victorious with the WWE title, and then Cult of Personality starts playing.
This other music all of a sudden, out of nowhere.
Thank you.
Yeah, it starts playing, and it's like, why? Wait, what? Yeah, on the radio side, you can hear that music right now, because that was the music.
Yes.
And so John Cena is confused. He's looking around, the crowd is confused. Nobody knows what's going on, they do a camera cut to the stage.
Yep.
There's nothing going on. It's just like the Raw.
Yeah.
You know, ribbons running and all that stuff.
Clearly something's happening, but nobody seems to know what it is.
Yeah, like, we weren't sure at the time. I remember thinking, like, oh, is this the music for, like, a pay-per-view that's coming up or something that they're, like, plugging? Or is it, you know, like, when the show's over, sometimes they'll play music to let you know it's time to leave the arena?
Right.
And then right here, hold on, right there, cameras cut to the stage. All of a sudden, all of these brand new videos start playing for CM Punk.
Yes.
And he pokes his head out, and the place goes crazy.
Yeah, it is bananas.
So,
yeah. And so it was another classic moment. CM Punk seemed unable to have classic moments in wrestling at this point. It was lightning in a bottle. In that 2-week span, he actually showed up at San Diego Comic-Con to call out Triple H at like their action figure panel, which I thought was just great because again,
it was so awkward. I was like, "Is this legit?"
As much as you want to see CM Punk on TV, you want to see him do the thing. I would have been okay if he would have stayed away for months, just kind of popping up here and there and having WWE report on it. That it would keep you on your toes. Like, where is CM Punk going to show up next? This is amazing. It made you care about what was happening, not just from 8 to 11 at night.
But, like, on the internet, like, you have to follow WWE.com.
Yeah, and then, of course, they probably tell you about it the next, on Raw. But anything could happen at any time. It was, like, the ultimate in potential spontaneity. They cut it a little short because I guess you have to so they could have the big match at SummerSlam.
Yep.
But yeah, he was able to beat Cena at SummerSlam.
Right.
Become the undisputed WWE champion. Like, no second thoughts. This is your man. John Cena's not your man. Rey Mysterio's not your man. He's the true champ. He might have walked away. They might have tried to put a belt on someone else, but no. He's the man. And then Alberto Del Rio cashes in Money in the Bank on him and takes the title away from him.
The same night?
In that instant. Same night. That's... Actually, Alberto Del Rio tried to cash in when he won the title at Money in the Bank.
Right.
With the night that Del Rio won it. But Punk was able to kick him
and
then run away through the crowd. He
Yep.
blew McMahon the kiss and then went off into the night, and the crowd went wild.
I remember that.
Because that crowd couldn't stop going wild.
Because Vince said, "Get me Del Rio."
Exactly. Vince McMahon wanted to do anything. He actually tried to interfere in the match earlier, and John Cena...
Like the screw job.
Yes, I forget who he had run out, but... But Cena...
Oh, I remember. Everybody, yeah, I remember.
Cena clobbered him.
People power!
Oh, it was Laurinaitis, wasn't it? Yes. Oh, that guy. So yeah. So now, like everybody would want, Del Rio is your WWE champion. But, on the bright side, this gives CM Punk a chance to go chase that title again. But yeah, he lost the title because Kevin Nash kicked him as well. That is an important note. Kevin Nash just showed up. He's like, I got a text message saying to attack CM Punk, so I attack CM Punk. I don't ask questions. Whatever. I'm the dumbest, oldest man. So they set up they kind of feuded on the mic for a while because who wants to see Kevin Nash in the ring?
By the way,
Yeah?
quick thing. One of my favorite CM Punk promo moments
Yes?
was I got a tweet here from my younger sister.
Yes.
Hey. OMG, saw Kevin Nash, thought he was dead, ROTFL, or whatever it was.
Yes. Yeah, it was very nice. I did just watch that in prep for this, and hilarious stuff. Feuding with Nash, when they get to the pay-per-view, Night of Champions, Triple H is like, no, he's going to face me, 'cause I'm the authority here. Bleh. He wasn't officially the authority yet, but this was the seeds of what they would do with Daniel Bryan later. And I'm sure if CM Punk had stayed with the company, he would have been the one doing it. Which, knowing how much of a grind that was, how difficult it was to keep yourself motivated watching that programming,
Yeah.
I can see why Punk left. And if Punk had been there, it would have been real rough to watch. So, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So Miz and R-Truth keep interfering. John Laurinaitis, gets involved, but I believe he wins. I did not actually write down if he won that match or not. It doesn't matter. Punk was able to beat Del Rio at Survivor Series, win back his WWE title, and then hold on to it for an absurdly long amount of time. Longest title reign in modern history, behind only the people who have had it for like 2.5, 3 years straight. From the 70s and 80s. Your Pedro Moraleses, your Hulk Hogan's, your Bob Backlund's, your Bruno's San Martino. All right, so I want to go through a list of pay-per-views for a hot moment.
Okay.
And I want you to, and this is sort of my point, because he was definitely the hottest act on Raw.
Yeah.
But it was very much the feeling of WWE wants you to watch Raw, and if CM Punk's getting you to do it, that's fine. But while you're here, look at the stuff we want you to care about, or that we think you should care about.
Right. Like,
So-
we're going to tell you what you like.
Exactly, which was kind of the whole authority deal.
What they do.
All right. So, at Survivor Series, I'm going to go through a list of pay-per-views, and I want you to let me know if you think it was the main event or something else main evented that night.
By main event, you mean the last
The
match
very
on
last
the card.
match of the night.
Okay.
When Punk beat Alberto Del Rio, do you think that was the main event? Winning back the WWE Championship?
It should have been. I'm going to say that it was not.
It was not. It was the second to last match. The last match of the night was Cena and The Rock versus The Miz and R-Truth. R-Truth headed that pay-per-view, and not CM Punk. All right.
What?
The next month, Table, Ladders, and Chairs, your TLC main event, or not main event, your pay-per-view. CM Punk versus Alberto Del Rio versus The Miz.
Triple threat for the championship.
Triple threat for the championship. Was that the main event?
Yes.
It was the main event. And you know why? Because John Cena was not on the card that night.
Oh,
He was dealing with a very short injury.
that's
And
ridiculous.
I believe that was the one where he was out for like less than 6 weeks, but he had to miss one pay-per-view, and that was the one. All right, the Royal Rumble. He fought Dolph Ziggler. Was that the main event?
I mean, if the actual Rumble itself isn't the main event, it's got to be his championship match.
Right, but I mean, was it the main event or was it the Rumble? Like, which went on last?
I'm going to say the Rumble.
You're right. And that is the one where that deserves to go on last. There's, as big as the championship is, the Rumble is for a shot at that championship at
Right.
WrestleMania. It is a huge spectacle. It should be your feel-good moment of the night. Sheamus won, so maybe not in that case.
I won money that night.
Yeah. I believe Chris Jericho was the favorite to win, and then, Sheamus.
Yeah.
So, that was a good time.
Was that the one that Edge returned
What?
to attack Sheamus? I mean, to attack Jericho?
It probably was. That does sound right. I'm not sure, but that sounds right.
Anyway.
All right, the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber match featuring CM Punk.
By the way, real
Yes,
quick.
yes.
Matt saying, he thinks, and it wouldn't surprise me if Miz and R-Truth won that match.
They might...
Because Cena and Rock maybe,
Well, yeah, they were
feuding with each
They were
other.
leading up to Once in a Lifetime.
Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah, he couldn't believe Dwayne had a spot at WrestleMania already.
Yeah.
And he didn't. That was one of his grievances.
Yep, a year prior.
A year prior, yes. CM Punk defeated Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, The Miz, and R-Truth, former main eventers from a few months ago.
At the Elimination
At the
Chamber?
Elimination Chamber. Do you think that Elimination Chamber match was the main event?
And it was for the title.
Yes.
Yeah, it should have been. Yes.
It was not. It was the second match on the card.
What?
The
I
world-
forgot about that.
The World Title Elimination Chamber match went on later. Later in the night, either like the second to last or third to last spot.
Unbelievable.
The main event was John Cena versus Kane in an ambulance match. Because that's what we care about the most. WrestleMania 28. CM Punk defeats Chris Jericho in a match where the championship could be lost by DQ. Was it the main event?
It was not.
It was not, because The Rock and John Cena had to fight once in a lifetime.
Except when it was twice in a lifetime.
Yes, but I believe that one was once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Because Twice in a Lifetime was the one that I happened to see in New York, New Jersey, where he fought The Undertaker. And that was...
We were both there.
That was a great match.
We did not know each other.
No. I probably had much worse seats than you. And it was very rainy and cold.
It was.
Yes. Extreme Rules. CM Punk defeats Jericho in a Chicago street fight.
In Chicago?
In Chicago. Actually, that might not have been in Chicago. It might have just been a Chicago street fight because he was from Chicago, but it might have been in Chicago. I actually didn't take a note of that.
I'm going to say yes.
You are wrong. It was the third to last match, but I believe in this case it was like the cool down match idea. A lot of these end up that weren't last end up being third to last, so they could throw a Divas match in there or something. Funny thing, one of these where It actually might have been that one. I know one of these, the second to last match, a match that was higher on the card than it, was Layla winning the Women's Divas Championship. Which hurts me. Layla.
Oh.
Yes. I mean, not like she's the worst wrestler in the world, but it doesn't. That's not a thing. Okay. So now we move on to Over the Limit. CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. Was it the main event?
Oh God, I hope so.
You would.
That sounds like that could be I mean, that's a WrestleMania quality headlining match.
Yes, they had a killer feud after because Daniel Bryan became champion. I believe the same night that
yes.
CM Punk won the title back.
And Zack Ryder.
Yes. They had I actually watched that promo as well, where CM Punk was like, look at us now, us internet darlings, we're killing it. And it was a great moment. But was that the last match? Punk versus Bryan?
I'm going to say yes.
It was not. It was the third to last match.
Cena?
The main event was John Laurinaitis defeating John Cena. No DQ. If Cena wins, Laurinaitis is fired.
Are you?
John Cena versus Johnny Ace. A man who got most of his important wrestle time in Japan in the 80s, I believe, maybe 90s.
It hurts.
Yes. Okay, the next pay-per-view, and I'm sorry that there are so many of these, but
no,
I'm trying to push
the
through.
point to this, I'm sure.
Yes. No Way Out. No. CM Punk defeating Daniel Bryan and Kane. I believe this was right around the point when AJ started being a thing, because AJ was with Daniel Bryan, but she was also kind of like, what about CM Punk, though? Maybe Kane? I don't know. I'm crazy. I'm a girl. Yeah.
I'm going to say not main event.
You are correct.
There's a trend.
The main event was John Cena defeating The Big Show.
What? John Cena in the main event?
In a steel cage.
What?
In a match where John Laurinaitis was fired as the general manager.
Garbage.
Alright, the Money in the Bank match. CM Punk defeats Daniel Bryan, no DQ, with AJ Lee as the special guest referee.
More CM Punk Daniel Bryan matches.
They feuded through that summer.
I'm going to say yes, main event.
God, how could you be so wrong? It was the fourth last match.
What?
Hold
on a second. What? Okay, a John Cena match. And what else?
I wish I had kept notes on what everything else was in there. I would have to assume it was one of the actual Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Okay.
Actually, no, that might have gone on early. It was probably some garbage and a women's match.
Okay.
Which, at that point, was probably
what was the
also
main event?
It was John Cena defeating The Big Show, Chris Jericho, the Kane, and The Miz in the Money in the Bank ladder match for that title.
Oh, and then he lost.
So John Cena wrestling for that for an opportunity at that title is more important than the title itself.
That's garbage.
Because John Cena.
Well, yeah.
Now, I do need to make a special fancy note that in this space between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, Raw 1000 happened.
Oh, the start of Team Hell No, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, go ahead.
That is exactly, I believe, right after Raw 1000, because AJ left them at the altar, became the GM, and put them in training together, in anger management, because he lost his dang mind. But yeah, at Raw 1000, CM Punk attacks The Rock, turns heel, which, funny thing, when I was watching that, I was just like, that's not a heel turn. Like, he just doesn't like The Rock, because he has a problem with people just coming in and taking, the spots that people who are there all the time should be. That makes perfect sense. I was wrong. That was supposed to be a clear indicator that he was not on the side of the Angels anymore. I didn't realize. Silly me. So, SummerSlam, CM Punk defeats Big Show and John Cena. Is that the main event? This one's tricky. Because everything you know about CM Punk matches says one thing. Everything you know about John Cena matches says something else. Where does that end you? Where does that leave you?
CM Punk. What year is this?
This was, 2011, I believe?
Okay. 2011.
No? 2012. 2012.
CM Punk, John Cena, and The Big Show.
Yes.
I'm going to say... Can I guess?
Of course.
Was the main event Brock Lesnar and Triple H?
It was Brock Lesnar versus Triple H.
Yes!
Because the only thing more important...
Because he came back after Mania, he feuded with John Cena, and then, yay!
Yeah.
The only more important than John Cena is Triple H.
That's right. And maybe Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Because in the future, that will be your main event of everything. All right?
Yay, good guess. But otherwise, that would have been the main event.
Yes. The next pay-per-view was Night of Champions. CM Punk went to a wrestling draw with John Cena. Was that the main event?
I'm going to say... Triple H and Brock Lesnar again?
No, that actually was the main event this time.
Oh!
That time they did it. Okay, and then CM Punk had to defend the title in a Hell in a Cell match the next month. Refused to defend it against John Cena because he had beaten Cena so many times now,
right.
Which makes perfect sense. But Foley was like, "You're not a real man if you don't fight him one more time," because that's what you do. But
you might have beat him 11 times, but until you beat him that 12th.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 12th one's the one where it counts, but we're not. We'll see when we get there. In the 13th, we need a 13th one. CM Punk defeats Ryback in Hell in a Cell.
Oh God!
Was that the main event?
I hope not. I'm gonna say no.
That was the main event.
Oh my God! No way!
John Cena was out with an injury again.
Oh God!
Which usually is the case.
Garbage. That really upsets me. They're right back on a main event.
Yes. Survivor Series, CM Punk defeats John Cena and Ryback. Was that the main event?
Yes.
It was. Alright, we are almost at the end here.
This is getting hard.
At TLC, there was no CM Punk match. He had to have knee surgery.
Oh.
Because, funny thing, I don't know if you know this about CM Punk, but they kept making him work through injuries.
Yes.
And eventually he got fed up with it and walked away from the company. But not yet. Not yet. The main event of that, for curiosity's sake, is Dolph Ziggler defeating John Cena in a ladder match for Ziggler's Money in the Bank contract when AJ turned on Cena, who was with them for some reason, and went with Dolph Ziggler, forming the starting seeds of Team Rocket, possibly the best version of Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have the Royal Rumble, where The Rock,
oh God, I
Wayne
hated this. I knew this was
CM Punk.
the thing is with that is that was so. They already told us the end of that long before it happened. You know what I mean? Like we knew that was going to happen.
Your friend Matthew makes the point that Ryback hurt CM Punk during that cage match.
Yes. Yeah, because Punk called him out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was why he didn't have a match at TLC.
Yep.
Yeah. What a jerk. He ruined my game. The Rock, one of the biggest stars of all time, defeating CM Punk. Was that the main event? Or was it John Cena winning the Royal Rumble?
The Rock and CM Punk was the main event.
It was. Which I find very odd, because...
But The Rock has to have the main event.
Yeah.
And
it's just because it's the Rumble. Rumble should always be last.
That is another match similar to other ones that I have been upset with, which is that, like, Cena and The Rock didn't need the championship.
No.
I understand if they say, well, no, last year it wasn't for the championship, this year it should be, we have to take the stakes higher.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
No. It should be enough. I mean, if they weren't doing such a great thing with CM Punk, if there wasn't really a strong title story, I could see that. I could see that being justifiable. It does give it that extra little bit of sauce. But they didn't need that sauce. The match was kind of a garbage match anyway. And actually, as I talk about Punk Taker, one of my notes is that very much should have been for the title. Because Punk held it, I didn't think to write it down, but it's something like 434 days. Somewhere over 400 days. If he had been able to hold it all the way to WrestleMania, he would have held it for just under 500 days. So it would have been The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak against CM Punk
500 plus days.
Being able to hit 500 days. And that is a money match.
Yes.
Like that is a huge, huge match. But that's CM Punk's problem. If you're not John Cena, nothing's a big match.
Right.
Or if you're not Triple H, if you're not Brock Lesnar, if you're not somebody coming in from the outside, if you're not The Rock.
It's upsetting.
Yeah. if you're not Goldberg, it's not a real match. So, Punk had a great feud with Taker. It was a real piece of trash, and it was great. I wanted to see him beat the streak, but also I really liked Taker taking it out of him. No pun intended. And I feel like that was Taker's last great match, and I wish that Punk had just retired him that night. Like that would have been impressive. So yeah, when Punk lost to The Undertaker, because of course he did, he took some time off to find himself. I think this was him like trying to recover from being browbeaten, having such low morale.
He loses his smile.
He lost his smile, and so he took a little bit of time. When they got to Payback in June in Chicago, CM Punk roars back in a match against Chris Jericho. People are thrilled to see him. He distances himself from Paul Heyman, feuds with Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, because Paul Heyman, that's his boy now. Like, if CM Punk's not his guy, Lesnar's his guy, and you can't beat his beast. And that was a heck of a feud as well.
Oh yeah.
Of course, Lesnar beats him because Lesnar continues to feud with Heyman through the rest of the year. He fought Curtis Axel, who apparently was a Paul Heyman guy. I completely have forgotten until I did the research for this. He actually had a match with Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman. It was a handicap match. He was able to get rid of Curtis Axel, but could not beat Paul Heyman because Ryback was also a Paul Heyman guy. And then he was able to beat Ryback and Heyman in a Hell in a Cell match soon after. Teamed with Daniel Bryan to fight the Wyatts at Survivor Series. He beat the entire Shield.
Yeah.
Which I still can't believe that happened. Like, the Shield was an unbeatable force, and this one scrappy dude, everything kind of like hit the right, everything happened just right for him, and he was able to take advantage of it and beat 3 men. That was a magical night that I think at the time I was kind of pumped and also kind of like, what? Really? What? But it worked. It worked perfectly for the kind of scrappy underdog he was meant to be. Because, if you are the best in the world at wrestling, if you are a world champion, how can you be an underdog? Face one of the most dominant trios in wrestling history and win. That is a heck of a thing. Yeah. So once he moved away from Paul Heyman, he ended up getting sucked into feuding with Kane and the Authority, and that left him getting knocked. He was number 1 in the Rumble as a punishment. Eliminates Kane. Kane comes back later and pulls him out of the Rumble, cheating, and that's the last we see of CM Punk.
Because CM Punk did not want to continue that feud. He didn't want to fight Triple H at Mania.
Right. Which, might have been an okay match, but no.
But Triple H probably would have gone over.
Yeah, and even if he hadn't, no.
That doesn't do anything for Punk.
Yeah, Punk even said, like, he doesn't need that win. He doesn't need to fight Triple H. Triple H needs to fight him. And so, in the time that passed after that, it seems Daniel Bryan was, sort of took up the slack there and became the anti-authority figure, which did wonders for Bryan.
Yeah.
I actually wonder if Daniel Bryan would have been able to hit as hard as he did as a superstar if he would have reached the heights he had if CM Punk hadn't left. Probably not.
Probably not. And
probably...
I was saying CM Punk is on record as saying that he was really happy for Daniel Bryan.
Oh, of course, yeah. He was able to take something that was kind of garbage.
Oh yeah, Cody Rhodes pinned the Shield as well. Huh.
That I didn't remember. There's a lot about Cody Rhodes that I have just shuffled away into my brain. At some point we'll talk about him.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to have to look it all up again, and I'm looking forward to that. Because I loved that man. When he was in the Money in the Bank match where that Damian Sandow won, I saw, like, going into that match, I thought not too much of him. I thought he was good, but I didn't, That was a match that made me feel like this is a man who will be world champion one day. And I could not have been more wrong.
Yeah.
They had other
It
ideas.
was all smoke and mirrors.
That's real good. That's real good. Oh, man. So, day after the Rumble, CM Punk apparently shows up says, like, I don't want to do this anymore, walks away. As far as he has said on, he later went on a podcast, Art of Wrestling, I believe, with Colt Cabana, and aired his grievances there. He was officially suspended for a few months, but then nobody got in touch with him. Nobody was champing at the bit to get him back.
Right.
It seemed like they didn't really want him back, and he was kind of fine with that because he didn't like the way they were treating him. He felt like if it wasn't John Cena, it didn't matter. If he was pressured to wrestle through injuries, he had a giant MRSA infection, and their doctor just said, like, oh no, that's just fatty tissue, it's nothing. Once he got let go, he got it checked out, and he was like, oh, that you could have died from this. Like, this was a legitimate, like, health scare issue. So he has definitely taken some, like, he's got some sour grapes about that, and deservedly so.
Sure.
Not even sour grapes, like, that is a huge deal. And also, another reason why maybe he wasn't brought back was he was bugging them about unpaid royalties, which, honestly, you need to stick up for yourself in something like that.
Of course.
It makes perfect sense. But I think at that point they were just like, this guy's going to be a problem. He's never going to do what we want to do unless it's also what he wants to do. So, let's part ways. And they gave him his termination papers on his wedding day when he married...
I remember that.
When he married AJ Lee.
What a scumbag move.
Yes. Which Vince McMahon says, like, was just, coincidence. And nobody's ever believed him. So, apparently he also made a lot less money than other people in the same positions. At his WrestleMania match with Taker, he was paid less in huge amounts compared to the other main events that night. So, it's... I can understand why he had to leave. I was sad to see him go. I am still hoping at some point he finds that fire and he wants to come back, because I don't think there is a... not that there's nobody who would... he was kind of... he's sour, man. Like, he is a cantankerous old cuss, as you might say. But, God, he was great at what he did. Best in the world, you could even say. And I feel like he is one of the top guys, if not the top guy, that I would love to see come back from their burn bridge with Vince McMahon and do something. I feel like if he ever wants to open that door, Vince would take him back because he knows there's money there, and they could just go.
I tell you, I would love to see CM Punk take his rightful spot eventually in the Hall of Fame.
I feel like there's no way you can deny him. They will, probably, unless they play ball, but...
God was a tag team champion.
Alright, let's wrap things up, because we have gone a half an hour over again.
But you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? It made up for the half an hour of problems that we had on the video side.
It was like 15 minutes, but yeah, we got a good full video version of this now.
Yes.
My apologies to WLVU for taking away time.
Yeah,
but hopefully we were enjoyable to listen to.
That's it. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, for sticking with us on WLVU. I want to thank Matt and everybody else for watching us on Facebook. What's that? Facebook. Matt says, I'm calling this now at the Bullet Club show. CM Punk will show up, maybe not wrestle, but he'll cut a promo. Or I can't see the rest of it. But the thing is, that would be great. Huge. I mean, I think anywhere you bring CM Punk in will draw money, and CM Punk knows that.
Yeah.
But CM Punk right now is training for his next UFC fight, which shouldn't be announced. Well, I mean, that's
no, I know he is, but come on.
I know.
How many times?
I know.
You know what? You got to live your dreams.
Yep.
And if he wants to do that, if he wants to be a Minnesota Viking, he's just got to try.
Like Brock.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Seriously, if you haven't been to our Facebook page, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/thenNowWhenever, and like the page, comment, let us know what you thought, let us know what you want to hear us talk about. But you know what? Right now, let's figure out what we're going to talk about next week. We have Clicky Von Wheeler.
Yes. Funny thing, we forgot to replace the CM Punk category, so if it lands on that, we'll respin.
Deal.
Yes.
All right, so...
Oh, do you want to spin it this time?
You know what? I would love to. You're going to want to sit that on your leg.
Okay.
And you're going to want to keep it balanced, because Okay, here we go. Ready, guys? So next week, topics. Matt, here we go. This one's for you, bud. Next week's topic on Then, Now, Whenever will be... the gold standard. What are we talking about?
That is the category where we talk about somebody who either made it to the championship and it wasn't quite everything that it should have been, or somebody. Oh, go ahead.
Or somebody who had all the skill, all the talent, had everything.
Yes.
And for some reason, just
Yes.
never got it.
And I am going to tell you right now, because I've already done the research for it, we are going to be talking about Dolph Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler.
The Ziggles.
The Ziggles.
Classic Ziggs.
Hi. I'm Dolph Ziggler.
You know the guy. Yes. So yeah.
He was the cheerleader.
Don't give away the whole show, man. Come on.
All right, so tune in. Oh, Matt's going to bring some more. Matt, listen, if you ever find yourself in the Allentown, Bethlehem area, come on in. We'll talk some shop with you, and maybe we'll call you up if I can do so. Maybe I'll get a hold of you. Send me a personal message on Facebook, and send me your number, and I'll see if we can figure out a way maybe to do an off show interview, ask you some stuff, and maybe we'll play it during the show for our listeners.
Yes, and maybe next time I won't bring as many notes, so we can keep this thing under an hour.
We'll do all right. Hey,
we'll see.
Better to have too much than not enough.
That's right.
So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Then, Now, and Ever. We are live every Thursday night, 9 o'clock on WLVU. And, of course, tune in every Thursday night before this show at 8 o'clock for the shows we watch, myself and Kathy, talking TV. And that's it, man. So from us here at Then, Now, and Ever to you guys, thank you so much. We will see you right here next week.
Eat a butt eaters. Every time.
Thanks, Matt. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, guys.